tawe,
Hano tawe,
kinanaskumten, nipmatsuen.
It's been told many times that our languages are threatened every day, that we're going to be losing our languages, that there's going to be less and less of it spoken. And it's through performances like this where it's done entirely in the language.
Astam, kukum! Kukum!
And it's done through performing and speaking and actually doing that the language stays alive. And it's there for our children and our grandchildren and the generations that are not yet born.
Nipa, Wanska, Kakismo, Tapasi. What does Tapasi mean?
Run away!
In the summer of 2016, the drama department at the University of Saskatchewan offered an innovative new course called Indigenous Performance Methods, Drama 211. The course was designed to teach Indigenous languages through performance training methods. Indigenous Performance Methods is a required course for the Wichitawan Aboriginal Theatre Program Certificate of Proficiency, which strives to combine Indigenous cultural knowledge with contemporary theatre practices. The name of the program itself is a Cree word, Wichitawan, which describes a process and a value. We work together, we support one another. We wanted to include Indigenous cultural knowledge in a way that wasn't superficial or generalized. And you can't really teach culture without teaching it from where it resides, in the language. Indigenous Performance Methods was created to provide students with the basic Indigenous language skills needed to create new performance work.
I came here and I sat in the audience. I know that not all of these actors that were in this performance were fluent Cree speakers, yet the entire performance was done in the language. And that gives us hope that there's a way to reconnect, to relearn, and keep it alive.
I did not know what to expect. I had no idea what to expect of this class, and then learning that it's a Cree immersion type class, I'm so happy. I'm open to add to my vocabulary and my Cree memory.
How do you say no? That's it.
The first part of the course was language immersion, and we used TPR, Total Physical Response, as the method to teach the language. In TPR, the instructor introduces a word along with a physical action. Students repeat the words and the action until they've learned it.
I use that method TPR because it's like learning Cree through action, and that's how I was raised. From my kuhum, my karukawi and my mother. That's how they raised us, just by watching and looking at them, what they're doing, and and that's how. And when I was small, I couldn't even talk English. I was like, it was all Cree, and that's the way I think. Using that method, the students will catch it faster, because using the pen and paper, you don't retain it. The spirit of the language is gone. And if you use that pen and paper, you wouldn't be able to communicate with a fluent speaker. But using the TPR style and through the action, because the spirit is there when you're moving, and then you'll catch it and you'll remember those words.
Wait. Don't come. Miss. Nicolay.
I've been a Cree teacher before in a classroom setting, and I can honestly say that the students I had in that classroom setting, teaching, from a curriculum, a book, rote learning, it just didn't do it. It didn't do it. The kids didn't learn as much in the classroom setting and hear what these kids did.
Beat one!
Oh, Beyonce!
What they've done here today was just amazing. It only just hit me this morning as we were watching them in rehearsal that the whole thing, which was, I don't even know how many minutes it was, like a half hour, they were speaking in Cree the whole time. And it just, oh my God, it just blew me away. It just blew me away. Well, I think drama is very much a method of TPR because we're moving. We're constantly moving. We're getting the words in our body. We're getting the words into our cells, into our memory. And so I think that's the difference. And the other thing that I think is going on, psychologically, when we're having fun, we learn better and we retain more information. And so a couple of times the students said to me, I'm just having fun. Like, this class is so much fun. I enjoy coming to this class. I look forward to coming to this class. And I don't have to worry about forgetting my textbook or, doing massive reading, the night before I come to class, So I've heard those kinds of comments from the students. So I think that's the difference. So with drama, we're able to get them on their feet and do the practical, teaching, the practical learning.
Drama really helps with learning Cree because of the actions. Like you can get up and you come into the language, and I like that.
The first time that I heard the youngest in the group, Kayla, speak Cree was we were in our morning check-in circle, and she said, a statement, the whole thing in Cree, and it just made me cry. It just made me cry because in that moment I thought, oh my God, there's hope. There's hope. We can retain this language and we can teach it and we can pass it forward. And she'll pass it forward.
You should be proud of your language because a lot of the culture is contained in the language, and it makes these connections within yourself so that you can really be reaffirmed in your identity, like as a Cree person, and not ashamed of it.
Drama 211, Indigenous Performance Methods, culminated in a public performance, using only the Cree language that they had learned during the class. And the decision was made to open it up, to invite everyone, whether they were Cree speakers, Indigenous or not. There were no subtitles, but we hoped that our audience would be able to understand what was happening through the actors' actions during the performance.
You're also teaching your audience that are watching you. And not only that, it's in you, and it's like, you're teaching, even though you think you're not teaching it when you're doing it, but you are teaching because those people that are watching you and hearing what you're saying and their movement, they know what you're talking about.
Anytime we want to learn a new language, we're developing our brain, right? We're expanding our brain. And so when you learn a new language, not only are you learning the words or how to speak it, but you're learning the philosophy and the practices of the people at the same time. And so you become richer for it.
It's been so trained out of us, like with residential school and everything. Like if you spoke Cree in residential school, you got like hit, you got a whooping. You know, it wasn't good.
The audience are actively, whether they know it or not, they're actively participating in decolonization. They're actively participating in the reconciliation of this country with engaging and listening to the original language that existed here on the territory in which they stand. In Canada, there's two official languages, there's French and English. Neither of those are Indigenous. Neither of those have been here for thousands of years. But the audience sitting in their crowd got to sit down and listen to the language that originated here on this land in which they walk every day. And I think that is a huge deal.
I feel it's very important because not only the students, but for everybody to learn this language. So there'll be more than one person to help lift up the language, to be able to, all of us work together to be able to plant that language seed outside to our children, to whoever that needs to learn it. So with more people, just like instead of this little band, it's better to do it all together, to work together and to try and plant that language.
I think it's a great opportunity for anybody, Indigenous or non-Indigenous, you know, to learn a new language, to learn a new philosophy, a way of being and knowing. And it's fun.